So much of the ultimate frisbee film that's publicly available is of really high level ultimate frisbee. And so a lot of the film breakdown is also of that. A lot of times you see what's good and what you should be doing. But for players like me that are at a sectionals or regionals level, that stuff is great. But sometimes you also want to see what people are doing wrong and you can learn from. And so Manny Eckert from Seattle Sockeye is breaking down my film from Select Flight Invite East or SFI East a couple weeks ago. And at SFI East, I was playing primarily O-line. So you get a little bit of defense as well, but you get to see a lot of the offensive mistakes I made. If you like stuff like this, check out the link down below for the Ultimate IQ Library. This is the Patreon that Manny and I partner on. Manny has a ton more film breakdown in there that I'm sure you'll love. Let's get into the video.
Do you want to like talk for a minute about like what your role was coming into this tournament?
I was traditionally a D-line player. I got put on O-line, hadn't played in a while, and could throw a flick again. So it was kind of like a combination of some bad things and that I haven't played in a while, but a combination of good things and that I could throw the flick, and I had the lefty now. So I was just thinking about trying to be the best support cutter that I could.
Yeah, so my main takeaways from both games, offensively, I definitely think you've developed into a more confident player. Like I see you making cuts that feel like you want the disc a lot more. And you do catch the disc more than you used to on offense. There were a couple good throwing moments for you, and also a number of moments when you had a really open player to the break side and you looked them off. So there is at least one throw in, I think it was the Fungi game, where you threw a really nice break mark pass and it looked great. And I think you should trust your break mark throws more, because that would make you a more dangerous player on offense. Defensively, I'm still seeing like you've made so much progress over the past 2 years with your orbiting and your triangulation. So triangulation, ability to keep track of your player and the movement of the disc at the same time, and orbiting, just like which side you're on your player. And those things, when I watched your film 2 years ago, they were basically non-existent. And it seemed like you didn't really have any concept of what they were. And now it seems like you are very intentional with your positioning, and with those two items. And it's paying off because on defense, you're able to apply a lot of pressure. And there are times with your positioning that your person like doesn't even make a cut against you because it's like you're already in the space that they want to cut to. But let's just hop right into it here. So as an athlete, you're looking really good in these games, like very fast. Your change of direction is honestly elite. And your acceleration is really good. I think one area of growth for you, as we see in this clip, is if you want to be a more impactful cutter at higher levels of play, then you need to be able to become a more courageous deep receiver, because you are great at making deep cuts. You made a lot of good deep cuts in these games, and you're really fast, so you can get separation. But these are the types of sky balls that you need to be able to come down with. So watching this clip here, what you could have done differently, you allow this defender to take the inside position on you. And then once that defender gets inside, on this side of you, same side as the disc, it is basically impossible for you to make a play on the disc. So as soon as you're seeing this disc in the air, it would be a really good idea to basically run in front of the defender. There is sometimes a fine line here with what is a foul and what is not, but generally, if you're still taking a line, if you're still like playing the disc, then if you're just running in front of the defender, as long as you're not like running into him, then you're getting the defender on your back and you're just making it harder for him to make a play. So probably like around this moment, if you just take a line that's like a foot or 2 feet to your left instead of fading away to your right. And that's going to make it a lot hard for this defender to make this play on this disc. Also, I think you could have gone up earlier for this, like probably about right here. You take an extra second to gather while the defender is just attacking the disc better. Alamode isn't. I feel like the Alamode O line doesn't huck that much, because you often run a vert and the back player is really deep of the disc. But if you want to play on other teams in the future, then this would be really valuable for you. Any questions about that?
No, that makes sense.
Cool. Okay, let's take a look at this next clip here. Okay, so here's an area of your game that you've really improved upon, and that is just the timing of your fill cuts. By fill cut, I mean kind of like the second cut that is looked at in a throwing progression. So right here, there is a dishy. This guy's going to go up line and leave some space that needs to be filled by another player. And a lot of people in offenses that are more chaotic and overall worse will see an open space and then feel a need to attack it immediately. At the same time as maybe someone else is clearing that space or the thrower is not looking. But you had a lot of great moments in these two games of timing your fill cuts well from the front of the stack. And so I also like what you do here. So as this guy is going, right, you set this cut up by taking a few steps to the other side of the place you want to attack, which gets the defender off balance or just forces them to think about defending this space on the right side instead. And then as that other player has now cleared the space and the thrower is looking at you, then you just cut to the open side, easy under. Here's an example of a throw that was very open or a cut that was very open downfield. That looks like that you did not throw. So right here, there's an under. Two people are kind of attacking the same space, but the under sees that the front of the stack is going. And then this mark has their hand out here and it's still open side. It's a good mark. But I know that you're able to throw this, right? Feel me?
Yeah. No, I think that was a theme of the whole weekend, like you said. Like especially for whatever, like in my mind, how I remember that is that mark was a lot more flat, but looking at the film, like that, like he's forcing a flick, and that is a wide open throw.
Yeah. But like it's not terrible because the mark does overplay that flick side, gives you an easy reset off the sideline. You don't really even lose any yards off that reset, and then that ends up being good for the offense. So lesson there, if you're with a disc on the sideline and your mark overplays that down the line shot, then just bounce off the line quickly and get it back to the middle so you have more options to attack from there. Next clip right here. So you are very good at this type of move. So you're over here and you're really good at what you're about to do is, hold on. You accelerate right here, right? Quick deceleration and then another acceleration. And that is a move that I've seen can be effective for you. But in this particular instance, I think if we're looking right here, I think there's a pretty good chance that you just score this goal on the first move if you just go. because this thrower is very ready to throw it. The decel and then the re-excel can be a great move to adjust your timing. Like, say you are timing your cut off another throw. Like, maybe if this throw floated for longer or something, and then you needed to retime your cut, then this would be a great option. But in this particular instance, looks like this thrower is totally ready to throw it to you, and then you just decelerate, and then your defender gets on the open side of you. And sometimes you can totally mix your defender like this. If this defender were worse, maybe he would have overcommitted to back here for no reason. But in this case, the defender plays it well, and they use that opportunity to just get on the open side, and then you're not open on this next cut.
Yeah. Watching that back too, when I first watched this game back, I feel like what I could have done too if I did continue with that like decel excel is when I stop, like I think instead of taking that same path that I was already taking, I should have just gone to the disc, and then my defenders would have had to like flip 360 degrees almost.
Like curl around here.
Yeah, exactly. Like almost like a dig.
Like an upline. Yeah, that could have been an option. Okay, let's keep going. Here's going to be another instance where you had an open downfield throw, but it was behind the mark. So right here, one second. So this is a great under for you. And like it's an example of your acceleration being really crisp, right? So pull play has worked great so far. And then this guy is very open, but you look him off. And his defender massively overplayed this deep cut, right? And this is where like he's open by 10 yards, like you just got to find a way to get him the disc. And if it were me, like I would probably throw a scuba in this instance. But like IO backhand or around forehand, like one of those options have to come off here.
Yeah.
But then the mark super overcommits to guarding that backwards pass, and then you are able to get an upline still, so it's fine.
The sideline commentary on that's pretty good. I don't know if you listen to that.
On this one?
Yeah, when I don't throw it.
Oh.
Or like gather.
Throw that. Yeah. Here is another instance of good timing from you. So again, good timing on the fill, right? You're in the stack here. You're just chilling. Not really like other people are cutting. So nothing really for you to do. And then who was that? I think the Axel. Axel's going to clear out. Then you get a throw, open side, go open side. Or I guess maybe it was to the break side. It's fine. Either way, the thrower throws and then goes, leaves this space open, and then you wait a beat for them to go, right? And then you go and take that space, which is great. And then confidently turn and throw it upfield, which is awesome. And I like that you chose to immediately attack again, because this mark was a little bit off balance, right? The mark is behind. So that means they're going to come in and try to be sealing that mark, and their momentum is going to be going towards the disc. And if you throw and then immediately go, which you do, you're wide open because that mark overruns it. Axel chooses to throw something else instead. I think he could have looked at you. Here's a little defensive clip. This wasn't like thematic for you or anything, but they're picking this disc up, walking it to the front of the end zone. And I think this is a good poach from you to stand out here. You're guarding the second person in the stack. They're not doing anything over here. If they do get active, then you can recover. But when you are setting up poaches off a dead disc, they are going to be a little bit more effective if you wait to show them. So as this person is walking up the disc, then you go out here, and I don't know if in this instance the offense like really made a game plan to attack it, but it is easier for the offense if they know what to expect and can think about it for those few seconds beforehand, rather than play tight to your person and then the second before the disc is tapped in, come out here, and then the offense is going to be more confused. Maybe it's just for a few seconds, but a few seconds can be really valuable. Let's look at this clip. You're about to get beat deep. It is a good defensive possession for Alamo here. So Justin is right here. You roll that. Nice. And then that player's going deep. And I don't think you need to make any like big adjustments here. The main thing is that I think you just need a little bit more awareness in this clip, because everyone else is coming under. Normally, there would be some deep help out here when this guy is cutting deep from a shallow position. And if he's just going straight deep vertically like that, this type of cut can often be really easy just to switch. But in this case, everybody else is coming under. So there is no deep help, or this player is right here, but they're also like pretty in front of the disc, and it wouldn't be great for them to help deep because they could be really easily punished. So if you are able to notice that and see, oh, there's a huge open space out here, I don't have any deep help, this would be a really good time for me to just get super tight to my person.
Yeah.
Because you're definitely like you want them to go deep. You're dictating them into that space with you have kind of a large vertical under buffer here. But you just need to recognize like 1 second sooner, okay, this is a really viable deep look after this under goes off. And that's when the like alarm bell should be ringing in your head, and you're like, okay, I gotta get tight as this person's going deep.
Yeah. Are you okay with that roll in that situation?
The one on the sideline?
Yeah, I think it's me
Okay.
and Axel, I think, that rolled this.
Yeah, let's watch what happens before. So, oh yeah, this is kind of a ridiculous swing. Let's look at you right here. They just throw this like literally like a 39-yard swing, which I think is fine for you. Long swings that are in the air for a long time, like first of all, this throw would be really easy to mess up. And then your downfield defenders have time to react.
Mhm.
On this one, you choose not to roll. And then on this next one, you do roll. I mean, they're losing like 7 yards and going straight back. And this roll is able to contain that. So yeah, I would say it's a good roll.
Okay. So with that swing there that you brought up, this happens to me a lot. Like in my thought process. So if you could pause it right here,
Mhm.
like that type of throw happens to me a lot. I don't know. I always find that I'm guarding the one in the stack, and this is always how I play it. Like, because Alamo plays that FM, and I always play it like this because I'd rather them take that shot and me get a chance at that versus like having them go to that easier, like behind the mark but closer to the disc route.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, yeah, the dangerous throw here is the easier one to like this space. I mean, as long as this pair is here, like this guy is probably going to activate first. So you might want to adjust your positioning based on what happens right here. But in general, forcing a really far swing that doesn't gain very many yards. I can't tell how many yards it's actually gained right here. It was probably a few. But like, I don't think the risk reward on this throw from the offense is good.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that rewarding, really, because now they're just on the opposite sideline. And the disc was in the air for so long that the downfield defenders have lots of time to react. So, and then after this, they throw 2 negative passes and lose a bunch of yards. So I would say in general, that is a good throw to force. But if you feel like you're getting beat on it over and over again, then maybe you could just anticipate a little more and like take a couple steps this way as you see this thrower is looking for it.
Okay. Just be more ready for it. Yeah, because my thought process there is like if you go back like right before it's thrown.
Yeah.
Maybe. So like if you pause here, like here I see that like the reset handler and like Axel are still there. And then I see my guy like just trailing to the or basically he's just running off stage. So if you go like one more second, you see I like look at the lane here, just thinking like, okay, my guy's running off stage, like I can, and it's pretty high stall, like I can help out with anything that might be coming in the lane or like the close on stage, I guess.
Yeah, I actually like that. I think that's a really good idea. Like as your person is running away from the disc into a space that's not really that dangerous, it's always a good idea to just like you can just let them go and try to guard a more dangerous option.
But you're saying like had Axel and Axel's person not been there, then I need to recognize that my guy's a lot more viable and sit a little more under him, maybe.
Yeah, you would just need to be tighter because if Axel and Axel's guy are not there, like you are next up. Your guy is for sure going to be the one cutting. When you're guarding the active cutter, that is when you don't want to be poaching or flashing.
Got it.
Generally.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, next clip here. It's going to be a defensive clip. So, okay, you're over here. We'll watch that again. So Justin is right here, and this disc is going to be caught. And then this guy did get a little bit of separation on the under. It maybe could have been thrown, but like the mark is pretty flat, and you are tight enough to contest this. So I'd say it's a pretty good defensive clip from you. But what I really wanted to highlight is that, so this is a good like drop step there. You do end up with your back to the person. And I think that is playing with your back to your matchup is like not necessarily an ideal position, but realistically, it is a position that all defenders are going to find themselves in at some point, even elite level defenders. And there are certain defenders that even actually prefer to play it this way. And so I think it is good to practice when you're doing defensive drills, like 1v1 D drills, especially downfield D drills. I think it's good to practice both footwork facing the person and also with your back to the person, because playing with your back to the person in a way has an advantage at times because the drop steps you are going to take or the changes of direction as your person is cutting back and forth are kind of easier, rather than you're a lot less likely to fall into a trap of like backpedaling, because if you're playing with your torso facing the person and they run straight at you, it can be difficult to take a drop step and then crossover step and stay with them on that cut. And personally, I've enjoyed in my downfield defense more frequently playing D like this. And what you potentially give up is like, if this guy runs to the other side of the field, you're going to be really slow to get over there. But that is often going to be a really hard throw. So I like this defensive play here.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that one up because that was going to be a question, is what you thought about that. And yeah, I didn't even like, that was super unintentional too. Like I just happened to suddenly
exactly. Yeah. Like most of the time when you're when you do end up in that position, it is unintentional. But like, there is never going to be a defender that's good enough that they will not end up in a bad position at some point when they're playing defense. Like, that just doesn't exist. So it's worth it to, I think, play defense or practice playing defense from these slightly suboptimal positions, so that you can still be effective when you're there.
Yeah.
You're about to orbit really well here. So Justin's right here. All right, this is a really good orbit. That's what I'm talking about with your orbiting, just being so much more intentional. As this pass goes up to this side, you've been way better in the film I've watched in the past year of getting on the strong side of your person. By strong side, I just mean the same side as the disc. Even though this is technically the break side, same thing we talked about earlier. You're taking away the space in front of the disc, which is easier to access. And we'll see here, as your person goes for a different pass away from the disc, you're able to sneak in there. I don't think you actually touch this, but you force your offensive player to attack it in a way that they're uncomfortable with, attack it with one hand, and they drop it because of your pressure.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't touch that disc. I touched his hand after he dropped it, and I think that's why he stared at the disc for so long to figure out if he should call something.
Here's another clip of good timing from you. So Justin's right here, right? And then let's look at this. There's someone in front of him, and then that person in front of him is going to clear out, and Justin steps forward to take that space. And then you go when the thrower is ready to throw it. So a lot of people in this scenario see this open space and they're like, I'm going to run there immediately. And then that's before the thrower has a disc or is in the right grip or whatever. And then they're already in the dangerous space, but then their defender's there too. And then they just have to clear out and they're not a viable option. But you hold and then go, and that's a really nice throw and good cut. Then you get good flow from that. Here's another instance where I'd love to see you break the mark. So you're going to catch this right here. And we just saw someone throw it to you on this type of cut, an IO. And I think there's a gap here. This defender is not that tight. And this mark is also not that flat. Actually, they're pretty flat. The mark is pretty flat, but if they just go completely flat, then that opens up the around. And so I would love to see you be able to throw it to this person here. Yep. Here is a situation where I think you could have, where I think you could have cut deep. So you're chilling at the back of the stack over here. Back up a sec. So you're chilling at the back of the stack, and then someone gets the disc in power position, like they just gained a bunch of yards. And like, what would the a la mode offense dictate? Where should the continue come from this situation?
Here, yeah, from the 5, so from me.
Yeah. And then you just chill, and then offense looks reset after that. But I mean, this is a perfect opportunity to cut deep. Just gained yards, got a lot of space to cut into. Your defender's playing tight, but you're faster than your defender. And if you're not open deep, then you're probably going to catch a big under. And just for transparency's sake, we'll show Justin's low light here.
Oh God, I forgot about this.
This is a tough one because you're playing great deep defense. This hook goes up, you close the gap, and then the guy misses it. And then if you didn't touch it, it just would have been a turnover. But then you hit it into the air, and then the guy catches it.
I think that was our second or third break, or us getting broken 2 or 3 times in a row too, which really
this game
really
hurting. Anyway, it always bugs me when people online only show their highlights, so
Do things different here.
yeah, we suck. Okay, let's go to the fun guy game. Here, you score a lot of goals this game. Well, at least like 3 or 4, 5. Wow.
5, yeah.
Okay, let's go over some of them. So here's the first one. Here's a very common end zone play that everyone should know about, and that is Justin's at the front of the stack, and then the thrower's going to turn and look reset. The reset goes behind the disc with momentum going towards the break side. People have a lot of different names for this cut. I think most people in Seattle nowadays are calling this a wheel cut. We used to call it a poor man's break. That may have somehow been deemed to be politically incorrect. Or maybe it was just too wordy. But anyway, we're calling it a wheel cut now. When you catch this behind the thrower with momentum to the break side, and again, Justin times his cut well. He's not taking the space too early. He's going when the thrower is ready to throw it. And then this was enabled by this thrower just running up line to the side. Also enabled by a lefty having good around flick. Every lefty should have a good around flick. Huge advantage is lefty.
I would love your take on something that happens a little bit before that happens, actually.
Okay.
So I'll tell you when to pause if you like.
Okay.
But so as soon as he catches here, so I'm in front of the stack, right? And then Sky, if you're watching this, yeah. So Sky had feedback for me after this point, right? So I'm in front of the stack. Sky's 2 in the stack. And Sky
like right here. That's
no, I don't.
Sky.
Yeah, I think Sky's. Yeah, I think that's
okay.
Sky. And Sky is behind me. I just know Sky's the 2. I can't really tell where he is. But yeah, so Sky wanted me to give a look there, right? So but in my peripherals, I can see like, or I can see that the person who just caught it, Christian, his mark is like sealed so far that he is sitting in that like space, right? And then I can also see that, yeah, there's someone that like tried to cancel their cuts clearing like in that space, right? So for me, that looks like really congested or like potentially a pick. I can see the argument to like go to the other side where like that flick is probably wide open. But like in my mind, what I wanted to do and what ended up happening was like wait for the reset to chase and then cut there. And then if you go like 1 or 2 more seconds earlier, or sorry, later. I don't know words. So let it play a little bit. Here we go. Let it play. Yep. You can see or 1 more second. You can see Axel cuts from the back of the stack because we talked about this afterwards. Axel said he didn't see anything happening, so he felt like he had to give a look, and that's why he cut from there. And then as soon as basically I was waiting for that reset to chase to then make that cut. Like What are your thoughts there?
I mean, right here, I don't think you should go because this player is in a space already. But as they're clearing back to the stack, right here, I think. So the thing is, if they just clear like this with their head down, right, not looking at the disc, look at what this defender does. He just stays right there, and honestly prevents you from like making a real cut. But I guess if you made this move hypothetically, then this guy could read off you and then maybe punish that poaching defender. If he sees that, everything happens kind of fast here. First of all, I don't really like just the clear back to the stack from, let's see, what would I rather have happen here? Maybe I would rather this guy like goes to the back of the end zone and then like cuts horizontally. I think there's another clip later where I'm going to talk more about cutting from the back of the end zone. Because just jogging back to the stack here, means that this defender can kind of just stay out here, like directly in your way of the space where you'd want to attack. I also think the spacing of your stack is not that great because people should not be this close to you as the front, in my opinion. I'd rather push the other members of the stack back, so that if you're cutting from the front and the throw is like slightly inaccurate, then a defender is not going to be there just waiting to tee it.
Yeah.
So I can see the points made by your teammates. I think like at this point, like you definitely could have made a cut, and I see why Axel went as well. I don't think it was bad for Axel to go. He didn't really cut anyone off. He provided a viable look. Honestly, like this around definitely could have been thrown, probably for a goal. And then he gets out of the way of the next look. So I don't think anyone here really did anything that bad.
Yeah.
I would just say after this guy, like this guy is in this space, and then like main thing is like never just like run away from the disc with your head down. Whenever you run away from the disc, that is going to signal to your defender like, hey, I'm going to get in the active lane, like you talked about earlier when your guy was running away from the disc. So if they get in the active lane, then you want to be able to punish that by going somewhere else. But the spacing of your stack is such that if this guy runs somewhere else, then it's going to be a pick. So general thoughts, just like push stack back, make more space for the front. And if that had happened, then maybe you would have gone because you would have seen more space in front of you.
Gotcha. Yep, that makes sense. I think I'm probably like, I feel like most newer players, or just maybe just like sectional regionals level players, might be on the end of the spectrum where like we cut too much and like cut each other off and clog space. And I feel like I'm on like the opposite end of the spectrum where like I'm like too conservative and then like end up not making a cut. Like the clip you saw or you pulled up of like me not cutting at the 5.
Yeah.
So hopefully, yeah, I wanted to bring that up because maybe it'd be helpful for people that are like me where they don't cut enough. And
Totally. Let's look at your really good break mark throw right here. So you're about to catch this disc. I think another well-timed fill from in front of the stack. It's becoming like a late stall situation. So you're just going to run at the disc and get it. And then look at this throw. Like that's a sweet break mark throw. I don't even know if I throw this. There's not a ton of, it's a pretty tight window downfield, but the way you throw this, like the defender has no chance at it. I just wanted to talk about the mechanics of this throw a little bit. Look at where Justin pivots here. He's pivoting almost vertically backwards to get this around off. And I have a drill on the Ultimate IQ library. It's called compass throwing, in which you are practicing pivoting in a lot of different directions, not just side to side. But I think when people practice partner throwing, they tend to not really experiment that much with pivoting. But in a game, it's very valuable to be able to pivot in lots of different directions. So in pivoting in this direction, Justin creates more separation between the mark and his point of release. Also, the edge on this throw is really nice, like just a little outside in edge, floats out there, but it's like floating towards the offensive player. So that was a really nice throw. And when I saw you throw that, I was like, Justin could totally be throwing these other break mark throws that are way more open than this one was. And then this is nice. Like you're just paying attention to the disc moves, and then you make a nice, well-timed deep cut off that. Okay, here's a great defensive clip from you. So Alamo turns it over. Justin is right here. He's gonna, let's just watch what he does. So Justin's guarding a stationary player, but he's actually moving around a lot. as a defender. I think this is caught for a goal. But anyway, let's break down Justin's triangulation orbiting here. Again, triangulation, seeing the disc and your player at the same time. Justin's able to accomplish that by, like in this situation, where's disc right here? So he's looking not directly at the disc, not directly at his player. He's looking kind of in this space over here so he can see the disc and his player both in his peripheral vision. And as this disc is going to move, let's look at Justin here. He's going to stay on the strong side, or either that, or he's going to stop, like he's going to anticipate where the offense might want to cut. So basically the disc swings to this side. Usually the offense in a vertical step will want to continue that momentum and throw it again down this side. So Justin is going to go, let's look at where he is now. On that side, it swings and he goes to the other side. And then immediately it's like, you know, I don't know if this guy was going to make a cut, but he totally could have if Justin hadn't orbited there. But now Justin's in that space where this guy would want to attack, right? And the disc swings again. And Justin's going to orbit back to the other side. And the disc moves again. And Justin is going to orbit again towards that side where it could be thrown. So it's just, this is like this very good recognition of the momentum of the disc and putting yourself in a position early to stop what the offense might want to do.
So right here, pause right there. Or if you go like 2 seconds back. So as soon as this swing goes off, let's see.
Right here?
Yeah. Watching it back, did I orbit to the wrong side of him right here? Because Axel puts on forces home. The guy clears out, and then by the time I recognize, like that would have been too late. And then there I recognized it and then started to switch back to the other side.
Yeah, so it's a little confusing because Alamo does interesting things with the mark. So when I watch Alamo, I never really know what the force is going to be. And that makes it very difficult for you as a front of the stack defender to figure out which side to go on when the disc is around this middle area. But I think as this disc swings, it makes sense for you to orbit here. But then, like, as this guy is going up line, I mean, the thing is, when the disc is in the middle like this and the mark is flat, both sides can be attacked by this player, right? Like, both sides are kind of equally as dangerous. So Axel does settle into a forehand mark. So yeah, at that point, like, you would want to orbit to the forehand side. But then someone else just makes that cut anyway. Yeah. Let's watch. Something happens here. Oh yeah, right here. I feel like you totally could have cut under. So you're gonna go deep from here. Great. Boom, pump fake. I think at this moment, I would have loved to see you, especially as this disc moves, I would have loved to see you come under. There's going to be a big lane as this player cuts deep, but the stack is also drifting middle. So maybe you knew that was going to happen. And that's why you didn't come under. But in general, the best time to come under is after you make a good deep cut. Because if you make a well-timed deep cut that could be thrown to, that's when the defender has to commit to guarding it. And like, if you made this cut and the defender was not worried about it, then they would be right here instead of right next to you. That would be hard for you to catch it under. But because they had to guard it and they're right next to you, and you could totally, I know if you just blasted under here, that is a race that you would win. I don't know if it would have been thrown to because there's this guy right here. But if this guy flashes onto that under, then you've got a yardage gaining swing. So that's a win either way for you, for your team. Okay, here's one low light from you. Justin gets the disc right here. boom, throw into a poach. In general, takeaway here should be leading passes are very dangerous in end zone because you've got a lot of people in a small area of space, which means that if the disc is in the air for longer, it has a higher chance of someone else D'ing it compared to full field when you have more space. So in end zone offense, unless you are seeing a space really well, like maybe in this on the sides of the field when there's less congestion, basically you should almost never be throwing leading passes. You need to throw passes that are very direct to the person's chest.
Got it.
Here's a really good defensive moment from you. So Justin is right here, 4 in the stack on D. Okay, let's check that out. So you go from right here, your player is pretty deep. If they were to cut deep, there's no way that this thrower is going to throw a good huck to them. But they gain some yards, and then they throw another under. And now, let's look at what you did. You went from playing front hip, taking away the under, to playing back hip, taking away the deep space. Because right now huck is very dangerous. They just gained a bunch of yards, and there's no one else out there. But you choose to force them into this very small space where there are a bunch of other players. And they have no options from there. And the thrower is not going to throw that. So super smart defensive move from you. I don't know if that was like something you were thinking about in that moment or something you just did instinctually. But if you had continued to front, maybe you would have given up a goal because you made that shift and you stopped the flow of the offense. Here is a moment that demonstrates your acceleration, change of direction. Justin's going to be at the back of the stack here, running a flood, boom, boom, and then you have a ton of separation there. And I thought this clip was really cool because some of the workouts that you've programmed for me look almost identical to this move that you make here, right? It's literally just like a step and a plant and another step and a plant and just these quick decelerations and accelerations. And the fact that you're strong in these positions and you can push off hard means you get a ton of separation. Unfortunately, I think your cutting angle is not great here because these people are not cleared yet. I think if you had cut more vertically down the sideline for an around, that would have been more likely to be thrown.
Gotcha. Appreciate the plug too.
Yeah. So no clips for a little while. Here, this is really good timing, right? You're at the back of the stack. Boom, yardage gainer, and now you're going deep. You're not going deep too early. You are going deep when the thrower turns upfield and then sees you accelerating. Again, chase with a good around flick. Every lefty should have a good around flick. Let's look right here. Here's another moment where I feel like you make a move that is very similar to things that you do in the gym and that you have me do in the gym. Like again, it's just a small change of direction, right? You're just going one way, boom, plant here. And then, it's not like a ton of separation, but you gain like 2 yards of separation with basically just a plant and go from a standstill. And that's enough for an around break.
If we could go back to that clip too, I'm interested in your take on this. My thought process, maybe go back like maybe 5 seconds from there.
Right here?
Yeah. Like they're basically from the time I like caught that deep to chase to I reset it to chase, like I was kind of like clogging that area. I didn't really know where to go for like a hot minute.
Yeah.
So here I didn't like, I was like, do I throw it to him, and I realize I'm in the way of like Chase throwing that around that he fakes there, and then I'm too like far away to then go all the way across. I'm too far to go behind him. So like the whole time I felt like I was clogging there. But then when that disc is caught, I realized that I just had like my guy one-on-one and I just had to beat him to that front cone.
Mhm.
But all that to say, like in that situation where I threw it back to Chase, what would you have done to get out of there?
Okay, so you throw it back to Chase here. If this is me, as soon as I release this, I am going to cut open side. I would cut to this space here, probably. So that's one option. And then like the front of the stack would be holding and then reacting to what I do. Another option is just probably cut this way down the line, or just to the back of the end zone. Either way, I think you should be making probably a hard move here. Because yeah, just standing in this space, it does take away this would have been an open side throw.
Yeah.
Before the mark really settled. Right here, I think after what you do is fine because you're like, oh, I'm going to go beat the reset, and then Chase throws it, and then you're like, oh, Chase is going to be the reset, so now I will clear out. That was fine.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, Chase said the same thing, so that's good to hear.
Let's watch this full play real quick. So this disc is going to be tapped in, and you make a good deep cut, a lot of separation again, and there is this sag out here that makes it difficult to throw deep. So if you're calling pull plays and you're getting sagged every time, and it's just tough for you to throw past that sag, a super easy fix is just to call a chisel. Chisel is just a short throw to the reset that gains yards. So if you're consistently seeing this when you're running pull plays and you're like, I want to get this player out of here so I can throw downfield, then we should just have Chase charge forward and then catch this like right here. And then this defender is not in position to sag. And then as soon as Chase catches it, then you can just run the pull play. So just a little pull play hack to help get sags out of there.
So is that something that in this scenario, Axel would, like, as he's walking up, he sees the sag also coming in, he would yell chisel or whatever the call is for chisel, and then that tells everybody downfield to wait?
Yeah, he could do that, or he could just call it on the line, because most teams out there at this point will sag like every single pull play. So when I'm calling pull plays with Sockeye, I'm pretty much always going to anticipate that there will be a sag and trying to call plays that work well against sags.
I see.
Next clip here. So let's talk about what you should do at the back of the stack in end zone. So you're at the back over here, and then you just make this horizontal move and catch a goal, which is great. When you're at the back of the stack in end zone offense, what you usually do not want to do is just like cut straight at the disc most of the time, because oftentimes you will just be bringing your defender closer to the play where other people are trying to make cuts already. But if you're at the back of the stack and your defender's poaching, and defenders will usually do that in end zone if you're at the back, then like in this clip, Justin just runs away basically to the other side of the field. The defender is not there. And this has zero risk of getting in anyone's way, and it has a good chance of scoring a goal. So if you're getting poached at the back of the stack in end zone, move horizontally and not vertically. Move horizontally, call for the disc. You want to try to be annoying for your defender who is trying not to guard you and poach instead. Here was a moment where you actually could have timed your deep cut better. So we're gonna see Chase has the disc. I think you're at the back of the stack. So this is one of those moments where you go way too early, right? The thrower is not ready to throw it yet. They don't have the disc in their hands, and you're going deep, and your defender makes zero effort to guard you, and instead just stays under. And now you're not really a threat under because your defender is so far underneath you. And no one can be a threat deep because you and your defender are out there. So that's an example of what can happen if you cut deep too early. Last couple of clips here. Okay, Justin, catch the disc right here. Let's look at this sick throw. Boom. It's something you would not have thrown in the past.
No.
No way.
I don't know if I'd even throw it right now. Honestly, I don't know what that means to me.
That's a great throw. Like, that's a tight window. And any other, like a low release flick would be way more likely to be a turnover because it is like a short range pass. And with the high release, you're able to just throw it soft and float it out in front of the player. And the defense no chance. So awesome to see you have that in your bag.
That's the elbow too. Like the high release just feels a lot more comfortable than like a regular flick, I guess.
Yeah. Interesting. High release flicks for most people are a lot less comfortable. And last clip here. You're going to catch this goal, game-winning goal, and you're super hyped, and we love to see it.
Yeah, that was pretty hype.
And that's it.
Sweet. Manny, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.